Hello friends, Tom here from CollectAWrestlePalooza. If you're into 80s or 90s pop culture, you found a channel for you. I collect mostly wrestling cards, but I also collect action figures and other memorabilia from that era. Today I'm doing a mailbag video. I have 3 packages. Let's open them up.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.
So before I get into the opening, let me tell you where I'm at in the hobby. I'm still buying, I'm still selling, and I'm still having a lot of fun. Obviously, prices are down. They're nowhere near what they were a year or two ago, but that does not mean that memorabilia and pop culture collecting has no future. It just means that it's not where it was a year or two ago. And maybe we'll stay right here for a while. Maybe things will recoup and prices will go up again. No one really knows. But the key is not to get out. I think that there's a tendency in the hobby when you get depressed to want to just sell everything off and be done with it, to put it in the past mentally, to say I made a mistake, I may have bought more than I should have, I may have paid more than I should have, and I want to just remove that from my life. And I don't think that's the right way to approach this. I think the best thing to do is maybe put on the brakes a little bit. Obviously don't spend more money than you have, but just continue to have fun, continue to participate, continue to buy what you think are good values, keep talking to your peers, keep posting content, keep this thing rolling. Who knows when the next thing is going to come that's going to spark some more interest in the hobby, and all of a sudden we'll be right back rolling again. So you want to be ready for when that happens. I do have 3 envelopes I'm opening today. As always, I have no idea what the contents are. 2 of them are marked media mail and 1 of them is not. I'm going to start with the one that is not media mail. It is likely a card, and it does feel like a slabbed card. I know that one of these envelopes contains a 1989 classic Ultimate Warrior. I'm really excited to open that one up. I'm not sure which one it is. This is not it, but it is another 1989 classic card. I have been buying a lot of the 89 classics because I feel like they're a overlooked set. People know about the 1990 classics. The 89 classics came out a year earlier, and they're the same images. I love this set. I love the pictures. I love the superstars represented. A lot of people call it the golden age of WWF, myself included. So I think in terms of wrestling card sets, this is my favorite. But they were still pretty abundantly produced, at least relative to demand. So the 1990 classics have very little value outside of a couple of key cards or cards in very high grades. I think that the 89 classics are still a sleeper. They look exactly the same, but they're so much more rare. This is an Andre the Giant card. He's one fellow that I think is worth collecting into the future because there will never be another Andre the Giant. And I think that as more generations get into wrestling, when they look back, they're going to look for those key stars that differentiated themselves, and Andre the Giant is certainly one of those stars. So this is a 1989 classic Andre the Giant. It's a PSA 9, just a nice card, really great image, and in a pretty high grade. Next, we're going to move on to one of the media mail envelopes. Now, folks that send things out with USPS media mail, you're going to spend a lot less in shipping, and it's somewhat of an honor system. However, please be aware that USPS does search those packages. I have had people send me parcels with USPS media mail that are opened and repacked by USPS. This one actually has a stamp on it that it says offered for inspection by USPS. So this was probably searched by them to make sure that it really was media. I don't know what the ramifications are if they open it and find that it is not, but I'm not willing to take that risk. I have had people send me cards in magazines as a way to get around higher shipping because USPS will accept magazines as media mail, but I don't recommend that practice. But whenever I see a parcel come in that's media mail, I figure it's VHS. Okay, so I was able to open it up, and there is a notice here. I think it's from the Postal Service. Let's see what it says. Indeed, media mail service inspection slip. This package was mailed to you at the media mail price in accordance with standards in the domestic mail manual. Mail packages are subject to inspection by the Postal Service to ensure compliance with standards for mailing at the media mail price. And this one does have a check mark that says contents qualify for the media mail price, which I think is funny because no one is going to be buying this VHS to watch it. They're going to be buying it to collect it. So it's sort of a I guess, a loophole in the strategy. And I'm also guessing that the inspector probably had a lot of fun seeing that I got a copy of WrestleMania 5 on VHS mailed to me. And that is indeed what it is. It looks like it's in pretty good condition. You can't find this tape sealed. I mean, you can, but you're gonna pay a pretty penny if you are willing to spend it. However, this one looked like it was in decent shape, at least for this title. You can see it's pretty beat up, but they don't come up very often on eBay. And this is one of the most important events. This was Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage as the Mega Powers. And I feel like they were not producing as many VHSs at this point. I don't know why I think that. Maybe it's the scarcity of this title. But you can find WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, and WrestleMania 3 in relative abundance. WrestleMania 4 you can find, but 5 and 6 you don't find very often. So if you can find them in any condition, I say snatch them up. I think that they're going to be sought after, particularly for set collectors in the future that want to own all of the WrestleManias on VHS. Great event. Does feature, of course, the Mega Powers exploding, which is Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man. Some other events that are on there. It does have Jake the Snake versus Andre the Giant with special guest referee Big John Studd. And I'm wondering if this is actually a depiction of that event, because this is Andre the Giant against Jake the Snake from the card that I just opened. Tag team title match, one of my favorite tag teams, Powers of Pain, against another one of my favorite tag teams, Demolition. I was a WWF guy, so I wasn't into the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom at that point. Although when Legion of Doom did come to the WWF, I was a huge fan. Underrated superstar Brutus the Barber Beefcake against another underrated superstar, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. I feel like they were always on undercards because Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Andre always had the main events, but amazing wrestlers if you go back and watch their matches. Just amazing storytellers and great superstars. This does have Hacksaw Jim Duggan against Bad News Brown, Red Rooster against Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Rockers against the Twin Towers. I believe the Rockers get squashed in that match, if I remember correctly. Twin Towers loved the big guys, Akeem and Big Boss Man. King Haku is in here, Hercules, Bushwhackers, Fabulous Rougeaus, Blue Blazer, early Owen Hart, Mr. Perfect, Greg the Hammer Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man. Of course, that's Rhythm and Blues against the Hart Foundation, and other great bouts. It also does have in one of the opening cards the Brain Busters. Extremely underrated tag team. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, of course known in the WCW, part of the Four Horsemen. When they came to the WWF, they weren't promoted as much as I think that they should have been. This is a 3-hour spectacular. It does say that on the bottom here, as all of these events were back in the day. WWF put on nice big long events with all the stars. WrestleMania 5 on VHS, gotta own it. And the final package today, another media mail. I'm guessing it's another VHS. Let's see what we have here. Another tip. I have offered this tip before, but notice that this seller wrapped the parcel in plastic, which is a nice touch. My mailbox can get rained on, it can get wet. I love when sellers take that extra step to reuse plastic bags. I would not want them to use a plastic bag just for that purpose, but if you have one hanging around the house you're going to discard or recycle anyway, you might as well give it an extra life and wrap your parcels in it for safety. This is indeed another VHS. It is another WrestleMania? Yeah, WrestleMania 6. This is my second copy of WrestleMania 6. I did open another one, I believe, on video a few weeks ago. This is the most important VHS to own, in my opinion. Reason being, it's Coliseum Big Box. It is Ultimate Warrior against Hulk Hogan, which are two legends. And I don't believe that they made too many of these because they're hard to find. So, love the graphics on it. This was the golden age of the WWF. In addition to Hulk Hogan against Ultimate Warrior, it has Dusty Rhodes, it has King, Macho Man, it has Andre the Giant and Haku, Demolition, Jake the Snake Roberts, $1 Million Man. Just a great event to own. Again, I have 2 copies of it. Both of them are pretty beat up, but you want to find the big box version. You want to find the version that has this big cassette. Now this does have a sticker on it that says Action, which makes me believe that this is an ex-rental. I'm going to look at the tape and see. Well, the tape does not have any rental stickers on it. Probably it had one that was peeled off by the seller. Looks to be in okay condition. Nothing too terribly wrong with it. Of course, I wouldn't know unless I played it, but you know, it's fine. But man, oh man, love owning WrestleMania 6 on VHS. This brings me back to my childhood. Everyone was either a Hogan fan or a Warrior fan. I was a Warrior fan. When I woke up the next morning and found out that he won, of course, at that point, there was no way to really know who won outside of your friends who actually bought the pay-per-view telling you, or waiting for WWF magazine to come in the mail. That was the only way. It was before the internet. But when I found out that Ultimate Warrior won both belts, I was thrilled. I wanted to see how Jack Tunney would split them up, if Warrior would defend them both, if he would sacrifice one. All the possibilities rolling around in my, kid brain at that point. What a great time to be a wrestling fan. So that does it, folks. Just a few pickups for this week. Having fun collecting, of course, collecting more Golden Age WWF memorabilia. There's always going to be a market for that stuff. Keep having fun. Thank you for your support, and have a great week.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.